What's up, everybody? No, we weren't here last night. Yesterday was a strange day in that you had the Masters, which everybody watches. It's the only golf tournament. It's kind of like Easter Sunday when it's the only day that a lot of people go to church all year long. Well, the Masters is usually the only golf tournament anybody watches all day long. And they did. And then that spilled right into night 237. And we will be joined here shortly by former ICW NWA Florida champion Diamond Dogg. And we're going to discuss what happened at Wrestlemania last night and Saturday night. Saturday night, everybody remembers it was a storm and it was delayed and all kinds of garbage. So we'll go back to the Masters for a minute while we wait on Diamond Dogg to join us. Hideki Matsui, or whatever, first Japanese to ever win the Masters, and that's a big deal. I found it kind of disturbing that some people were saying, I want an American to win. I want an American to win. What the hell is wrong with people? Has it become commonplace to root against somebody from a foreign country? Hideki played great golf yesterday, had a bad stretch late in the day, but he still won the damn thing by one shot. But yet people are whining that it wasn't an American that won. Shut the F up, for God's sakes. And we wonder what's wrong with the world. And part of it's this kind of crap. I just want to see good golf. That's really all I want to see. And now everybody's up in arms over a call made at the plate last night in the Braves-Phillies game. Sometimes they blow it. Replay blew it. Now shut the hell up whining about it. I mean, these are grown-ups whining about this stuff. Come on, grow up. There's more important things to be worried about. And now you have the grand conspiracy. Everybody's against Atlanta and don't know what the problem is there. I mean, just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Last night was the series finale for Shameless. I was a little disappointed. I won't spoil it if you've not seen it, but I was a little disappointed. It does not rank among the all-time series finales. I can tell you that. And I was disappointed. But the show had a good run on Showtime, and that's something the world has to get used to, is premium channels like Showtime, cable channels like AMC, streaming services like Netflix, Hulu, Paramount Network, and all of that. That seems to be where the best television is at right now. Because we don't get a big choice on ABC, CBS, NBC, or Fox. We just, thank goodness Fox is still showing Family Guy, The Simpsons. I did watch the premiere of Katie Seagal's new show, The Rebel. It's kind of a takeoff on the real life Aaron Brockovich, and one of my favorite actors, Andy Garcia, is doing television now because he's a cast member, and they could have found a better vehicle for the talent that is Andy Garcia. But we're still waiting on Diamond Dogg. If he doesn't show up, I'm going to be very angry. And I'll have to go after him. He may have totally forgotten. But it started off thunderstorm Saturday night down in Tampa at Raymond James Stadium. It's hard to gauge how big the crowd was. There were a lot of people in attendance, but there were a lot of cutouts like they used at Super Bowl when it was played at Raymond James. But it was nice to see wrestling in front of a lot of people. And let's see what we got. Okay. Hi, Kim Klein. Tell that husband of yours howdy. There was some big sports news today locally, and I know Stephen Hargis is over there in Marion County crying his little eyes out, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. But one of the best high school rivalries, bar none, is now over. There will be no more football games played between South Pittsburgh and Marion County. It's over. That is hatred at its best, kind of like the old days of Ridgeland and LFO. That was hatred. Kind of like the real old days of Hicks and Red Bank. It was hatred. And these new kids just don't understand it. But it's over. I think that was my understanding, and I could be wrong. That is part of the deal that brought Chris Jones, the new coach at South Pittsburgh, who left professional freaking football to coach at South Pittsburgh High School. God only knows what he's making. The mock softball winning streak came to an end this weekend. Mercer took 2 out of 3 from the mocks. I think they are back home this weekend. CFC starts their tournament tomorrow. In fact, I think Scott Herbst is going to be behind the mic on a couple of those matches down there at Finley Stadium tomorrow. Trying to think what else is going on. And if you live inside the city limits of Chattanooga, tomorrow is election day. Tomorrow is the runoff election for mayor of Chattanooga between Tim Kelly and Kim White. I did not cast an early ballot. I will go vote tomorrow, and hopefully we will bring Tim Kelly to office in the city of Chattanooga. I want to throw this picture up before I bring him in, because this was during his heyday down in Florida. Give me 1 second to bring the picture up. And if you want to know anything about post-concussion syndrome or CTE, you can talk to this guy right here, Diamond Dogg.
Exactly. That's what I guess I'm one of the poster childs here of post-concussion and everything. So
yeah, because that is what retired him from professional wrestling. Yes. Because who knows, not just because he is my son, but he was pretty damn good. And who knows what could have happened. We talked about it the other night. Who knows? He might, he might have been. He might have been at WrestleMania. I don't see. If Diamond Dogg were still working, I don't see him at WWE. I see him at AEW or Ring of Honor.
I never had the dreams and aspirations of getting to those levels of,
you were just you were happy being a badass indie wrestler.
Pretty much. I mean, just as well as, when I was competing, didn't get paid much, little at all anyways. But,
Well, it's like one of your buddies, for a few short years, he was one of the biggest names in the business. Your buddy Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Oh, anyways. Yeah. Good old Jim Duggan, who just made an appearance at Hogan's Beach Shop. No plug in Hogan's Beach Shop, and Clearwater. So he just made his appearance autograph session out there.
Well, let's get to it. I, for one, think this may be the worst WrestleMania in more than 10 years.
Well, I agree a little bit on that aspect, because you got to look, it's been a year without fans in front, working in front of fans. So they had the rain delay and everything else.
Some of the booking was horrible, though.
I agree. It's just Vince and freaking Bruce Pritchard, doing all of this. Vince
Triple H, man. Triple H is going to take it over one day, but it's almost like he's out of the loop.
Well, he doesn't have that position that he used to have in the company. He's not head of talent relations.
And, night one, it's delayed. And then the curtain jerker is Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre.
That's just to get, that's the WWE title. To me, it doesn't hold as much recommendation as it used to.
No, I don't think it does either. But what I'm having trouble with, what did it go? 10 minutes tops?
I'd say about 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
The clips.
Drew McIntyre, who you see on some commercials now. I just don't see Bobby Lashley. Yeah, he's a good talent. I'm not big on the muscled up, guys to begin with. But is he just a short-term champion?
Well, to kind of go off of that a little bit there, when Bobby Lashley signed back with the WWE, Lesnar was champion. And the whole goal was Lesnar versus Lashley at a Mania for the title. Obviously, Lesnar has lapsed in his contract and no longer with the WWE from what Big Daddy Dave Meltzer says. But there again, I think you've got more money when it comes to McIntyre because he's a whole lot more talented. Lashley has to have that mouthpiece.
Yeah, because He's terrible on the stick.
Yeah, he's got to have that mouthpiece with him. You got to look. When he came back, he had Leo Rush as his mouthpiece. And then now
better than MVP.
Well, they released Leo Rush.
Yep.
Because they don't know what makes talent in 2021. But there again, he's got MVP, which you've got that mouthpiece at the ringside, and it was a back and forth battle between the Scottish psychopath and the Almighty. But if it wouldn't have been for that distraction there at ringside, we could have seen McIntyre pick up that win. But there has to be something in the story that are in the big scheme of things that Vince is doing for Lashley.
It'll be interesting tonight to see how they play that.
Well,
now
the Thunderdome has moved.
Yeah. I didn't give two rat's butts about that woman's tag team scramble or whatever.
Turmoil.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, was the match of the night the next one? Because I was tickled that they finally put Cesaro over.
Well, you got to think this was Cesaro's first WrestleMania singles win. And I mean, he's going against another workhorse, and that's Seth Rollins. Both of those guys, haven't, held a mainstream, big title in quite a while. They do deserve it after that performance that they put out.
Could a title run be in the offing for Cesaro?
It could, but I doubt that it would. I doubt that Vince or Bruce see it that way.
No, because they like the big muscle-bound guys who, now they went from that. I was glad to see Cesaro win.
Yeah.
But after that, have we finally seen the end of the New Day?
No. You got to think the New Day is a big draw with fans.
And especially with the kids.
Yes. And you're not, I've met Xavier Woods, Consequences Creed, Austin Creed, whatever you want to call him. I've met the man. Nice, very smart, very wise individual, Kofi Kingston. Another great workhorse. But in that mix, you had their opponents, AJ Styles and Omos, which there again, you start off with that match and you start with AJ Styles just taking the brunt of everything.
And he's so good at that.
Yeah, he's good at that. He's 40-something years of age. He still can do most of the stuff he used to do. But you got to look. He was just being used as kind of in a way, a stepping stool for Omos, which is nothing but a giant 7-foot-tall. No offense.
He's the crap Vince likes.
Well, yeah. He's basically the modern day Hall of Famer himself, the Great Khali.
Which I don't understand to begin with. Why in the hell did they put Khali in the Hall of Fame? He did nothing as a wrestler.
But he is also an ambassador for India and WWE.
But Then, of course, they had the gimmick match, Miz and John Morrison against Bad Bunny and Damian Priest.
Okay.
Because they are cashing in on that Bad Bunny ticket big time.
Well, not anymore, because Bad Bunny is actually going on tour.
Yeah. But they cashed in on it.
They cashed in on it. He did an all right job for an entertainer, if you want to loosely call him that, because I'm sorry, I'm up on today's modern music, but before this, I've never heard of Bad Bunny. It was nothing but a comic match. Since Damian Priest came from NXT, or his original from Ring of Honor, known as Punishment Martinez, he was pushed great in NXT, but he hit that main roster, and he's hit that proverbial Vincent K. McMahon wall. And he gets little to no time in his first WrestleMania match. Utter disappointment.
Well, then they close out night one, main event, and this is happening more often than not now at WrestleManias, where the women are the main event.
Yes.
I think it started with Charlotte and Sasha Banks.
And it's just flourished from there.
And now, at least, a lot of the dirt sheets are asking people, should they cut it back down to one night? Probably, but it's not going to cost you any more, because now for $5.99 a month, they're on Peacock TV.
Yeah.
And by the way, that is a shameless plug for Peacock TV, because there's a lot more than just the WWE network on there.
Cheap plug and pop for Peacock.
I mean, they have got, for $6 a month, they got a ton of programming out there.
They do. I mean, everything that of course, aside from the WWE network had, they've got a lot of streaming stuff on there. And, I enjoy Peacock.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, exactly. But,
and they're not being pricks about it like Netflix, where they're going to limit how many devices can be signed in. You can, on Peacock Premium, you can have up to 3 devices signed in at each time.
But let's just say they are, both WWE and Peacock are being a little, let's just say, prudish, because a lot of the Attitude Era
it's not on Peacock.
Is not on Peacock.
Yep. That's just the times we live in now. Yeah. And we've just got to get used to it. Times have changed.
I mean, they don't even have what they had on the network. Being one thing I loved watching, and that was WCW Nitro.
Say hi to Cindy.
Hi, Cindy. Cindy.
Cindy's my buddy.
But
she's an old high school friend.
Well,
and I'll leave it at that.
That please leave it at that.
But yeah, I'm pleased with Peacock. But it was Sasha Banks and
Bianca Belair.
Yeah, and they have been pushing Bianca Belair for months now, and I've not been a big fan of Sasha Banks.
Why?
I don't know. I mean, she can work her ass off.
Yeah.
She can literally work her ass off.
And she's good on the mic.
She's very good on the mic.
She's talented.
She's popular outside of wrestling because you see her doing cricket commercials and other stuff.
Yeah.
But they have wanted Bianca Belair to have the strap, and Sasha Banks did the right thing and did the job.
Yeah. She did the job and much more in that match. That match was, for me, besides a little bit of the women's tag team turmoil and the main, or the opener, the main event, you know, those were my two favorite matches of night one of WrestleMania, which was the opener and the main event. Everything else to me was just filler.
Yeah, because I love the way CBS Sports, their website does a great job. If I can scroll up, they gave grades to the matches. They gave Lashley and McIntyre a B.
Mm-hmm.
The tag team turmoil, they gave it a C+. Cesaro and Seth Rollins an A-. That made, to me, that
deserved just a A+. It's in my book because those two guys, you know, they worked.
They gave AJ and Omos and New Day a B+.
Well, yeah.
I'm not even going to talk about the Shane McMahon. I've got to do something stupid every WrestleMania.
Now, granted, he didn't do nothing stupid at this WrestleMania except for take a big bump off the top of the steel cage into the ring. But I mean, anybody who knows that wrestling is very unforgiving.
Yeah. They gave Bad Bunny and Damian Priest and The Miz and John Morrison an A. And then, well, there was only one A+ given out, and that was for Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair.
They deserved it. I mean, you've got to put it to those two women. They worked their butts off. I mean, all the women do in WWE, despite not getting booked properly.
Yeah, because they don't run stories anymore where you're building up to the big match. Now, they did a little bit with Strowman and Shane McMahon, but back when we were,
listen to this, back in my day
and back in your day, those stories took several weeks to build up to a big show.
Yes, they told that story. They got their points across. They built so much suspense for these angles back in the Attitude Era and even in the early 2000s and the Ruthless Aggression Era. They built these angles, but now it's just basically simple cookie cutter, rinse and repeat with the same garbage. When you've got half of the roster that isn't even performing on WrestleMania.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, that may be why AEW is catching on more and more, because they are telling some stories that take time to build. Because now you got Chris Jericho being a babyface again.
But with AEW, yes, they're giving the large majority of the indie scene airtime, and they're teaching these guys how to work on television. But their storytelling in AEW is lackluster because they're doing everything they can to keep the titles on either Kenny Omega, keep the tag team titles on the Young Bucks. The TNT title is going to stay on Darby Allin. And the women's title is going to my mind's kind of blank on that one.
Yeah.
But they're keeping them on the same.
The guys that helped start AEW.
In a way.
Tony Khan.
Yes.
Now, night 2.
Okay.
Hold
on. Before we get started on night 2, I want to bring up the giant elephant in the room that was the 2 spokespersons or the
they were awful.
The heads of Mania.
The hosts of Wrestle, they were awful.
Hogan and Titus O'Neil.
God, they were awful. Oh, God, get her off camera.
Oh, hey, she's on my podcast. I don't want to hear it, sir. But
that's because you got a wife.
Well, still.
You know, I don't have anybody here but me and the television. Boo-hoo.
Okay. So the opening of both the hosts of WrestleMania, Titus O'Neil and Hogan. Titus O'Neil, he could have done it alone without Hogan.
Hogan doesn't get the pop anymore.
No, Hogan got nothing but boos.
He does not. Ric Flair still gets a pop.
Hogan gets nothing but boos.
Yeah. It was terrible.
His remarks.
It was like all of those talking heads, Jerry Lawler, Booker T. I don't know who the woman was. JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, or whatever he is. He is a useless human being that brought nothing to anything last night.
Okay, so, you know, a lot, you have to give your Hall of Famers the limelight still.
Yeah.
But there again, night 2 was opened up by the hosts dressed in pirate garb.
Arr, matey.
Okay.
Hogan looked drunk.
Hogan was not drunk, but Hogan made the reference. He called everybody, it was a pirate term.
Mateys?
Something like that, I think. But Titus O'Neil looked over at him and said, "You can't call anybody that anymore. It's not correct."
Yeah.
But everybody still booed Hogan.
Well, let's go to what they were really booing. Okay. This, to me, was by far and away the worst match of both nights. They give you 20 minutes of video promo for a 6-minute match. And then the dumb bastards put red filters on everything. I mean, Alexa Bliss comes out there and starts winding on a gigantic Jack-in-the-Box.
Hold on. According to Michael Cole, it was a box-like structure.
Sure. Michael Cole is a douchebag.
It's a box-like structure.
Did
you not see the handle?
It's a Jack-in-the-frickin' Box.
Oh, God.
I mean, and I understand what they were trying to do, yada, yada, yada. But Randy Orton is better than this. Okay. Bray Wyatt is better than this crap. And they're sticking them in a program with a wrestler. Hey, Dave Staley. Say hello to Dave Staley.
Mr. Dave, how you doing, buddy?
And it was good. And I'm going to reach out to Dave, and I'm going to get Dave on here within the next couple of weeks. It was so good to see him on TV with Chip Chapman last week. They wasted 20 freaking minutes on promo videos on this shit for a 6-minute match. They both deserve better. whoever came up with this program needs to be taken out to the woodshed and horsewhipped on their bare ass with a razor strap.
Okay. All right. So you
and then it ends with what is really in social media catching a lot of grief today. And I'm going to show a picture, but the match sucked.
Okay, before you show the picture, you've got your 2 cents in on this. Let me, excuse me, let me bring my 2 cents into this, Daddy-O.
Hold on a minute, because Diamond Dogg is talking.
Oh, geez. That's done and over with. But in all serious, the thing about it is they've been in this program since Wyatt came back and did this, The Fiend. It's a great program. I'm invested in this supernatural aspect. I'm invested in the story, but the problem with this Mania match, there was build, there was storytelling, but there was no match stipulation. And the promos leading up to the Mania match, everybody thought that basically this was going to be Randy Orton's not goodbye, but, the defeat of the Legend Killer. We were wrong. We got swerved by Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard. Because you open it up, Alexa Bliss comes out, winds it up. You see the Fiend getting regenerated, which was actually very brilliant from his Kentucky Fried.
From his burn to a crisp.
No, it's his Kentucky Fried Fiend.
Yeah.
He gets regenerated, but the thing about it is he comes out of that box and he does pay tribute to the late, great Brody Lee and does the yeah, which was very good. But then we get the worst, and nobody wants this, the red lights.
That was awful.
It's hard to actually sit there and watch something.
Yeah, I was having trouble watching it because of that red filter being on there.
You've got maybe 5 minutes of Bray Wyatt, in a way, no-selling Orton, which there again is phenomenal because you're trying to build this monster that Wyatt is. And then you get the distraction from the Jack in the Box opening up. And that's when that picture comes into play. But before we talk about that, off of that distraction, Wyatt turns around in the RKO. 1, 2, 3. That was horrible booking. That was dragging Bray Wyatt and everything that he built for the Fiend down.
That was burying him.
Yeah. Now, this could have been the adaptation of the Sister Abigail character in Alexa Bliss getting a body, should we say, or this may be the separation for Alexa Bliss to do something new and separate from Wyatt. We don't know.
Well,
but
that one shot.
The one shot, I know what you're talking about.
When they were basically my only one, it was a terrible match. 5 minutes for all that build up.
Yeah.
And then you end it. And I wanted a better shot, but this is what we got. We got Alexa Bliss in a crown of thorns with black blood, and behind her is a pentagram, which is insinuating Satanism. Who in the hell signed off on this? And is that a big mistake by McMahon? Even though we know it's entertainment, but is it a mistake for McMahon to bring that into the PG era?
Well, he should have known when Wyatt was taking all that time off and you had all these vignettes of Alexa Bliss playing with a smaller Jack in the Box, but sitting inside of a pentagram. It should have been, hey, wait a minute, use my brain, realize this may be offensive to some people. And obviously, McMahon being 70-something years old has had too many brain cells knocked off over the years.
I just don't think it wasn't a smart play on their part. We just lost Diamond Dog. Hopefully he's coming back. But, you know, the satanic stuff or whatever you want to call it, there he goes. Let's add him back. Don't know what happened.
All right. Well, still, I think it was a very poor choice for McMahon to do. But, you know, we can't dwell on this.
Yep. It's over and done with.
Yeah.
I mean, CBS Sports graded it a C minus.
I would have gone even a D on that.
I really paid no attention to the women's tag team match because without Sasha and Bayley in the mix, you've got the freight train that is Nia Jax, the hurt machine who hurts everybody in the locker room because she doesn't know what she's doing.
And, you know, to bring something up on that, she looked like something the royal family's carpet puked up last night. She was in all velvet, which did not look good.
No,
but I digress. You had Natalya and Tamina that should have won those titles, even though the women's tag team titles don't mean squat.
No, they really don't. CBS gave it a B minus.
Yep. I wouldn't have been that generous.
Now, then they moved to a feud that's been on and off for the last 15 years. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
With that, you had Logan Paul in the mix, the YouTube sensation. Not really, but still.
Another one of those celebrity gimmicks that they're notorious for at WrestleMania.
Well,
kind of like when who was it choke slammed Pete Rose?
Kane.
Yeah.
But there again, Logan Paul has got a lot of bad juju on him anyways for racial remarks and homophobic remarks. But Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, you can keep going with that. Yes, please, because those two guys can work their asses off if given the time, and they can put a lot of creative touches on a match.
Because they both got old school tendencies.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Owens is a fat slob. He's a slob.
Okay, so you're sounding more and more like Cornette.
But he's a damn good worker.
That's the same thing Cornette says. He's a fat slob, but he's a good worker if he would lose some weight.
No, don't lose. Leave the character just like it is. Sami Zayn is better as a nut job where you don't know if he should be on Prozac or Xanax or something, and it works. Keep building on it.
They need to build on that. They need to
let neither one of them are in
creative freedom.
Neither one of them are in a title picture.
And Owens hadn't been in a title picture for a long while, which is disappointing.
And that was one CBS graded a B+. And they can continue that one. Then they went, and did anybody really think that Sheamus was going to do the job for Matt Riddle?
Well, you've got a veteran in Sheamus, and then you've got Matt Riddle, who, his character is just based around a stoner, just like Rob Van Dam.
Yep.
But Riddle is athletic for wrestling with no shoes on.
And Scott Hensley of the Scenic City Invitational will be watching this either tonight, later, or during the week. Yeah. Matt Riddle is not that far removed from winning the Scenic City Invitational. I mean, he was an indie for a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And he's always had that barefoot gimmick.
Well, it's just that MMA background. I mean, you're not comfortable wearing shoes, don't wear shoes.
Yeah, and I think, in fact, he beat Gunnar Miller for the Scenic City Invitational Championship.
Cough, cough, the people's champion. Anyways. But that was that.
Sheamus is going to get another title run.
Another title run. Right now, he's boating. He's got that non-existent mid-card title. That being
the United States.
Yeah. It meant more in WCW than it did in WWE.
Yeah, because in WWE, it was the Intercontinental, which sat right behind the World Championship. Well, now you got two world champions. You got one on Raw, and then you got the Universal Champion on SmackDown, and you're diluting the number of belts. I didn't think Matt Riddle is going to be a mid-carder. The best chance he's got of getting a belt is if they tag team him with somebody, and he gets a tag belt.
Well, they tried that. They tried tag teaming him with Jeff Hardy. That's the reason the Matt part got took out of his name, so there would be no confusion over Matt and Jeff Hardy. But how is it confusing? I don't see the confusion. Matt is entirely different. He's older, looks entirely different. He has Jimmy legs, and Riddle is barefooted and looks like a freaking stoner.
Yeah. I can see when his contract is up, I can see Riddle making the jump to AEW.
Well, everything that I've seen is he wants to make the jump back to MMA, because the only reason he was took out of the MMA was for his use of marijuana, in which now it's legal in UFC.
Well, then they moved on to a match I had. After I saw the promo, I didn't even watch it, because then it was the Intercontinental Big E at home in Tampa, Florida, up against the fake Nigerian Apollo Crews. Everybody knows Apollo Crews was born in Sacramento, California. A year ago, he was talking without an accent, and now they have him in this broken English, and like he is actually from. I mean, that's like
a few years back, he even worked for an independent promotion in Rossville, Georgia, and that was Empire Wrestling.
Yeah. I mean, come on. It's kind of like Nikita Koloff. Everybody knew, well, that's his real name now is Nikita Koloff, but his real name was Steve something or other, and everybody knew he was from Minnesota, but he was trying to talk like a Russian. It was kind of like Ivan Koloff, the Russian bear. He was from freaking Canada. He spoke with a French accent. He wasn't freaking Russian.
Well,
but do they think we are that stupid that suddenly within the last year, Apollo Crews has developed a Nigerian accent?
well, no disrespect to Apollo. You know, his mother and father are from Nigeria. He does come from Nigerian descent, but there again,
he's a California boy.
Yeah. I can see why they wanted to work that, but then again, they led up to this match when it was written down on paper. I mind you, this is what Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon probably saw. Oh, Nigerian drum fight. That sounds good. What's it mean? Oh, shit, we don't know. We just like the name.
Yep. Well, it got an A-, and Apollo Crews is now the Intercontinental Champion. You know, that's to me, that's kind of shitting on Big E in his hometown. Yeah. He had to be on board with it.
Yeah, I mean, but you also now have a former NXT big giant.
It's almost kind of like the Bret Hart deal.
Yeah,
they wanted him to drop the belt to Shawn Michaels in Canada.
Well,
and he wouldn't do it.
Well, here's the thing. That's just like the Shawn Michaels deal. You look at it, but now Apollo Crews is Shawn Michaels. And now he's got a big 7-foot monster with him that made his debut from NXT. And it's Diesel and Michaels all over again.
Now, this is where you and I, that got I think a B+. Hang on, let me go back. That got A-.
Yeah.
Now, then they went to Asuka and Rhea Ripley. And I am not a fan of Rhea Ripley. I don't know. There's just something. It's not the goth look that she has. There's just, she can work. But is she the person you're going to see doing commercials? Is she the person? You got to be, for all of her faults.
Yeah.
And my understanding is a lot of the dirt sheets are talking. Charlotte Flair is not well liked in the locker room.
Well, Charlotte Flair right now she has her problems with the company.
Yeah.
Because after her COVID response, as far as she getting tested positive for COVID, she had supposedly, according to WWE doctors, had a high blood result, and it came back that she was pregnant. But she goes home and does pregnancy tests. They're all negative. She tells the company that, and the company doesn't believe her. And the company finally does another one, and it shows negative. And so she's up in arms with the company right now.
Yeah. And she's not well liked, I don't think, because I think a lot of the girls in the back think she's got talent.
She's got talent, but she's not let's just say she's not using her own character. She was built as a Flair, and there again, so she's living off of her dad, and she thinks she's all that in a giant bag of potato chips, and a lot of the talent in the back do not like her whatsoever. So yeah, I can see that, them thinking that all she is living off of her dad's name. I can see that.
Well, Rhea Ripley is now the Raw Women's Champion. Asuka does the honors and drops the belt. It got a B plus, and it was none of these matches lasted more than 7 to 10 minutes.
That's what I was going to bring up. It felt a little rushed. I mean, it was clear that a lot of the men and women started really working hard, and they were getting gassed really easily.
They're not trained. You win an hours several times.
Yeah. It doesn't have nothing to do with being trained. I mean, they all have good cardio, but when you come from that environment of not working in front of a crowd for a year, and basically during commercial breaks,
you're taking a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
she's got the belt now.
Yeah.
And they closed it out with the longest match of both nights. It was something like 22 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think we have seen that there is no doubt whatsoever that Roman Reigns is going to be the poster boy for WWE for years to come.
Well, for one, I mean, it's that Samoan heritage, with his family. But there again, that's what, pardon my French, that's what Vince McMahon has that hard on for. And there was way too much Jey Uso involved in that match for me to even like it. There was a lot of near falls, but undoubtedly we're all swerved because we thought either Daniel Bryan was going to pick up another title win, which, cool. That could have seen him, slowly start to literally retire, or Edge, it would have been great, because if Edge would have picked up the title, it would have actually meant something, because night 2 was the night he literally had to retire when he did.
Yeah.
And it would have meant something. But all the guys there worked their butts off.
What we take away from the whole thing was that, or what I take away from it, no more title runs for Daniel Bryan.
There might be another title run.
If it is, it's going to be a short one.
Yeah. Or he'll get drafted to Raw.
From one pay-per-view to the next. And then my gut tells me there's no title run for Edge unless he moves to Raw or moves to where Roman Reigns isn't.
There again. Yeah, yes, it's all the same company, but they can have that let's jump ship to Raw or get drafted to Raw in the middle of the whatever, and none of it makes any sense, but I don't see Edge holding a title anytime soon. I don't see Daniel Bryan holding a title anytime soon, which is sad, because Daniel Bryan is a throwback to like the guys that were at Empire. No, he's a throwback to true technicians of the ring.
Yeah.
He idolized, guys with a high flying technical style like Chris Benoit, like a Dynamite Kid, Jushin Thunder Liger, stuff like that. He should be given credit, but granted, he's not going to hold that title anytime soon.
Whereas the funny part is now Edge's former partner's starting to get pushed a little bit in AEW.
Yeah. Well, that's because you got to think Christian just as well as the Big Show. After Christian made his debut or his return back at the Rumble, they didn't have anything for him.
Yeah.
So he got out of contract and left. Big Show, they didn't have anything for Big Show.
The rosters may be too big.
No, the roster is not too big. They need to stop utilizing the guys that they have been utilizing for a few years now and let some of these other guys come in, these other men and women, and use them properly.
That may be why they put the belt on Rhea Ripley.
Yeah. I mean, it shows you that maybe they have some hopes for Rhea Ripley, and I hope that they do. But, there again, give one of these other guys a shot at the title. Let them hold the belt. See what they can do with it, but they're not going to.
Well, we have gone well over an hour. When is the next? Going to wrap it up. When's the next Scream Time Horror? When are you and Eddie going to be back on air?
We will probably be back on air with another Nightfall Serial Killer Chronicles this Thursday. We don't know who it's going to be on, but we do have a new segment coming soon. And it's basically, pun the phrase, it is the shit horror show where we're going to talk low-budget horror movies.
Oh, like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Exactly. And the stuff.
Oh, my God. All right. Thank you, Chris. Excuse me. Diamond Dogg, former NWA Florida champion. Back in the old days when indie wrestling could pack the house.
Yeah, pretty much.
And back when you would flip off your sister who was sitting in the crowd.
Or a little old lady.
All right, I'll talk to you during the week.
Thank you.
Yeah, your sister's gone gambling.
I'm not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
All right. Later. That's going to wrap it up. Thanks to Diamond Dogg for being with us tonight. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back at our regular time next Sunday at 7 o'clock. We'll go over some shit that's been happening in the world. We'll wrap up the mayor's election. Vote for Tim Kelly. And I want to talk about the return of the former Speaker of the House, John Boehner. Until Sunday night at 7 o'clock, be nice to everybody, please.
Goodbye, 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 goodbye. With Island down, gonna do one burn down. Things running.
That's all, folks.